Okay. Alright, so guess I'll do another update. Yeah, I wanted to, I know there's like, there's a fair number, not a fair number, but like at least a few, long-time subscribers of my channel who want to like see the new game. And it's been like 3 months since my last update, so yeah, I was hoping to be able to show the game at this point, but I ended up like doing a bunch more stuff on the site. What's been like happening has been like I've been basically like setting a schedule, like planning I'm gonna do this and then this and then this, and then what ends up happening is like along the way because I'm doing like kind of some quite a lot of new stuff that I haven't really done before. Along the way, I'll change the schedule and like learn new things, and then I'll think something's easy, and then I'll do it, and then it's not easy, and then I'll do it again and again, and then it takes like 10 times longer than I thought or whatever. So that's basically why up to this point I've basically only worked on the I'm not gonna say just the site, but like mainly the site. But anyway, so last video I had a basic single page application or an SPA. An SPA is basically a website which is kind of like an open world video game, or it's basically a website with really good performance, or it's kind of just like an advanced website. What it means is, see how like you see /Dungeon Dame there, and then I go to a different page and you see /about. So it looks like I'm changing the page. So it looks like this is one page and then this is another page, whereas it's actually a single page application, so it's all one page. When you do it all one page, it's fundamentally very different than a normal website. So like all the years I programmed Snubbyland and all the years I was working in Berlin, in Germany, I was working on standard websites, and only the last 2 years I've been learning SPA style. So whenever I predict how long something's gonna take, I have like an idea in my head based on my experience with normal websites, where in actuality there's certain things I never really thought about where things are always harder than I end up like anticipating them to be, kind of. But yeah, part of it is because of the sheer amount of features I'm supporting. So I have language, no refresh language change, no refresh theme change plus with animation, and then fonts. Let me go to a better theme here. I have fonts. I also have fonts that work with different languages. So for example, this is Russian. This is typewriter font. This is like tall font. This is the random font. But like for example, the Russian characters work in all these different fonts: pixelated, futuristic, cursive. Yeah, but like when I first was planning on supporting different languages and different fonts, I didn't realize what a pain in the ass it was to actually get the fonts working in all the different languages. And it doesn't work in all of them, but most of them. Like Chinese, Arabic or whatever, Bengalese, I can't do different fonts in. But yeah, anyway. I'm going to go through a list of new stuff I've added to the site. And then show off like the new stuff. Then I'm going to explain what I'm going to do next, and then I'm going to explain what my current schedule is. So hopefully on my current schedule I'll be back working on the game in a few days, but it always ends up getting pushed back. I'll have like a task I'm doing, like some easy thing, and then along the way I'll find like miscellaneous stuff to do, like, oh, I gotta rename this, and I gotta do this, and then I gotta have a special system for brackets for text, and then I gotta fix this little bug, and then I gotta tweak this, and then I gotta, oh no, and then this is wrong, I gotta use a function for this, and then, oh, I did this wrong, and then, so like I'll have like a simple task I'm doing, and I'll be like, oh yeah, this is gonna be easy, and then the task ends up taking way longer because it's not as easy as I thought, because I didn't realize like the implications of supporting all these features. And then on top of that, I'll find a bunch of little stuff along the way, miscellaneous stuff. So then by the time I'm done the one thing, I got like 100 other things to do, and then sometimes the little miscellaneous things turn out to be longer. But so anyway, I'm not trying. If I could have, if I had been working like 12 hours a day nonstop, I'm sure I'd be well into the game by now. But it's just really tough. Like, it's demoralizing, kind of, when you just can't. I'm trying to make progress, but I just keep getting jammed up. But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna show off some stuff and explain. I know, like, most people here who watch these videos, not that there's probably like 10, 20 people who watch them, but most people don't really care about programming, but I like to explain some programming related stuff to give you a behind the scenes look. But yeah, I'm gonna try to explain, like, give you a raw, like, real impression of what it's like to develop a single page application and a game when you are like me. I thought I was like gonna tackle it pretty easily, but it turns out I've been learning a hell of a lot along the way. So, like, even just the text, like the text alignment, and like fonts and stuff, I figured out finally, like, the proper way to do it. So I have to spend the whole rest of the day refactoring my fonts and my text, because currently there's slight problems with vertical alignment and the way that I'm handling fonts. So basically, everything's getting like a little bit messed up. And if there's a special way I figured out how to do it where everything will be like exactly perfect, and it took a hell of a long time to figure out, because you don't realize there's a lot of quirks about web development that aren't really obvious until you kind of get deep into it. But anyway, let me try to explain these new features I've added, and then give you a quick idea of what I'm doing next. And then I also have some good news in my personal life, or like that's going to help the game. I was going to explain that too. But the long story short is I'm going to have a bunch of money soon, because I didn't realize that the German government owes me a crap load of money, and that I'm actually going to get it. So yeah, I'm going to have money to actually develop the game soon, which is really makes me feel a lot better, because that way I don't have to work on the game in my free time while working on a normal job. But yeah, anyway, I'll get into that later. But so since last video I just had a really basic SPA, single page application with some basic features. I like improved the features such that, for example, now, and I also have a testing thing called drunk mode, which is just a silly mode. But this kind of illustrates some of the features that I've added. So when you're on drunk mode, the font will change like once every few seconds, the language will change, and the theme will change, and everything will be random. So this is like Spanish, this is Hebrew, this is, I don't even know what, this is Korean, I think, this is Spanish, I think, this is Thai, I think, this is probably Japanese, but anyway, you could see, because I'm constantly switching the font and language and everything, I'm able to test that it's working, kind of. It looks pretty crazy. But yeah, this is just to demonstrate how dynamic the site is. Unlike most sites, if you want to change language, it's a page refresh. If you want to change theme, there's no way in hell they would animate a theme change, because animating the theme change conflicts with CSS animations. So this is a special type of animation to make this work. Yeah, I'm kind of rambling a bit. I want to just go through each feature, I think. So yeah, I'll just start. Like, for example, I mentioned in the previous video that the kind of the gimmick, or the it's not really a gimmick, but the special thing about the games I'm going to make are that I'm making games with real people in them. So I'm going to be hiring models, getting a green screen, getting a treadmill, getting a ladder, getting trampoline, and getting a bunch of costumes, and I'm going to be like putting real people in the games. But for now, because it's so early in the development, what I'm doing is I'm just putting in placeholder cartoon characters. So here you see I drew, and I'm programming them so that when I eventually add in the real person, I have like a way of like making them dynamic, kind of. But so one thing you'll see is that now there are like little cartoon characters all around. But in the real thing, these will be real people. So this like little person here is just a temporary drawing. This is just a temporary drawing. But yeah, this is just so you get like an idea of what it's going to look like. And then when I add in the real people that'll be when it actually looks like. But one thing you'll notice is I want it to be like kind of silly and kind of fun. So anytime there's a real person, well, they're not real yet, but anytime there's where a real person would be, they're usually gonna follow the mouse with your cursor, or react to being clicked on, or do something else. Like this model is looking up and down based on scrolling, and then also reacting to the cursor. Whereas this model, she doesn't react to the up and down of scrolling, she reacts to the up and down of the head change animation. So you see, if I'm going down, she looks down, and if I'm going up, she looks up. And also I added some alpha to the head change so that when I'm below the top of the page, the head is like a bit transparent. So that way, like when I'm doing a head change animation, you can kind of see through them, which looks kind of cool. But yeah, this is one model who's reacting to the up and down and head change. And see, even just there, like I just realized I don't want the cursor hover to override the looking up and down, right? So like here, when she's looking up and down, she doesn't react to the cursor. It's only when she's not looking up and down that she reacts to the cursor. So right now I'm going to add in a little miscellaneous task. I'm going to go fix head model look trio. I don't care if there's spelling mistakes, because I'll know what it says. Make sure model on head looking up/down overrides the hover/click. And actually I think the click should just the hover, but not the click. So there, I just added another task. Now that one's an easy one, but what ends up happening is I just keep adding and adding and adding, and I just don't, and I don't know, it's just hard to explain, but anyway. So that's the first thing I wanted to show, is that I've added some placeholder models. The real site's going to be filled with models, and you're going to have like a page where you can character select a model and then go to the game and play with the model you picked, and then you can go back and forth between the site and the game, and it's going to be like crazy. There's going to be all kinds of cool stuff happening. But anyway. So yeah, the first thing I wanted to show is the models. So there's different types of models. This is like reacting to one type of thing. This is reacting to another type of thing. This is reacting to another type of thing. And then I also have somewhere here, this is an example where it's not reacting to anything. It's just a animation. But this is a special, actually I'll show you something here. Let's see if I can show you something here. So if you want to know like this is just a simple stick figure, right? So you say, oh, that can't be that hard. Well, the thing is, this is not a video, this is not a GIF, and this is not even a canvas. This is an image that's native web, where I'm simply putting a div here, putting a background image, which is this thing, and then I'm just moving around the background image. So this is like a special type of animation, which is basically better quality than a GIF, but similar to a GIF. But the thing about, I'll show you here. Just see tree, world's hottest game, page, FMG. I'm not going to explain what that is, but that's relevant later. I'll just show you this. I'll also show you this. Tree, world's hottest game, index. So for example, this is the image model 0. This is an animated image model. I give it a size, I give it a shadow size. So for example, I could give it 10 shadow, and the frames per second I could put down to 5. And this is the .com, so I'm just going to go to the local version. Hard refresh. So now you see that the shadow is 10 pixels off instead of 3, and the frames per second is 5 instead of 30. So anyway, with this animation for each and every frame, so there's 100 frames here, what I have to do is first I just animate it, right? So I just go into Flash and I just animate a stick figure doing some crazy stuff. Whoop-de-doo. Then I have to go through each and every frame and say, because I don't want to, with web development, with game development, you don't want empty space in your images like this if you don't need it. So when I make a sprite sheet like this, I don't want any empty space that I can avoid having. So what I do is, instead of having a grid where each sprite frame is the same size, I take the minimum amount of space I need for each frame, which is this blue square, and then I track the width and the height that's the minimum needed, then the offset, which is the amount from where it normally would be, from the 0 position, and then I also need the X and the Y on the actual sheet. So what I need is 6 pieces of information for each and every frame. And sometimes I even like overlap the sheets a bit. But anyway, like right here. So I could save just a little bit of space by overlapping it right here because they're both transparent. But anyway, just a simple animation. This could be like 2 days of work. Or not that much, but you know, it's quite a lot of work. And there's no way of automating this. It's very, very not easy to automate this. So anyway, that's one example of something I added. Is I have a full system for animated models and then different classes of models. But yeah, so that's one thing. Then I'll talk about another thing. I'll just go through a list of stuff. Another thing was I actually currently have a memory leak, and I spent a damn long time trying to fix it. And for the life of me, I do not know where the memory leak is, but I still have a lot of stuff I can try. So right now I haven't fully profiled it yet, so I'll probably fix it. But what I did was I added a thing where when I click off the application, it stops the main update loop. And then when I click back on the application, it resumes the main update loop. Because what I found is when I leave if I were to leave now, go do something, come back, the memory of the browser would have gotten more and more and more and more and more. So there's somewhere where I'm allocating memory but not deallocating it. But I thought by adding like a focus and unfocus thing that I could, it was somehow related to that. But yeah, while I was making the focus and unfocus thing, there's all kinds of like things I learned along the way. It's hard to explain right now, but yeah, there's a memory leak which I tried to fix, which I couldn't fix, and then I ended up adding a focus unfocus thing. But the focus unfocus thing is pretty, it's pretty not that easy to do. like I have my main update loop, and then I have my this is my main update loop, and then this is the update loop that runs only when the application is unfocused, which is a much simpler update loop. And then I start and stop these depending on if the application is visible or if it's focused. So here it's visible, but now it's not visible. So right now I actually stopped the update loop, and then I just resumed it. And then here I just stopped the update loop, and I just resumed it. But yeah, that was a whole rabbit hole that I went down, which took like at least a week. And I was like studying and like doing all this stuff, but ultimately I wasn't able to even fix the memory leak. But so now I have to. But anyway, that task isn't really that interesting. I'll go to some other ones. Another one was I want a special link system where the links feel like buttons that you're pressing in. So like, see how when I hover it, it kind of like the link kind of moves away from the shadow, and then when I click it, it like presses in. So it feels like I'm pushing like a button. See how it like kind of presses in? There's like a lot of nuance to how that works, and then the bigger the link is, the more of an animation it does. And then what I do is, if the link is really small, like this one, there is no more animation. It's just a solid thing. But yeah, I have a whole system where the larger links are 2 layers, and so it's like the shadow layer and then the main layer, and then the smaller links are with a shader, so there's only 1 layer. And then as I switch the size of the application, it actually changes the amount of layers on the links as they need them. But yeah, basically I have like a really dynamic link system that depending on the size of the application and a bunch of other factors, the links will automatically start, like for example, if I were on like a wider monitor, a link that normally wouldn't have animation would all of a sudden start animating, because there's a bunch of factors at play basically. I probably already showed all this stuff before, but like I can also turn off the animation. So now when I switch pages, there's no animation. Switch theme, there's no animation. If I go drunk mode with animation off, there's no animation. But yeah, anyway, so there's the links, the focusing, the models. What else did there's a whole bunch of stuff I did. Trying to think here. The drunk mode. But yeah, I think the main thing, actually I should have started with this one, is the most of this is unpolished and unfinished, obviously. So like the colors and everything's wrong. But as far as stuff that I have that's actually polished, the scroll bar, which I showed before, is polished. The page change animation is polished, which is the fading. And I can like change pages while I can like animate multiple pages at a time in like an advanced way. But the newest thing that I want to show is actually the head change animation. So on my mouse, I have like a back and a forward button. So I can go back, forward, right? So what you'll see with the head change animation is there's a bunch of like randomness to it. Sometimes it tilts in one way, sometimes it tilts in another way, sometimes it's like kind of in the middle. And then I can also use momentum on it. So I can like, if I go back and forth, I can build up speed and then like make it go even further. And then like when it comes in, it like wobbles and it like overshoots and then wobbles into place a bit. So one thing that's kind of cool is I can like do all kinds of crazy head change animations, go back and forth, and it'll never like mess up. It'll always do something cool, and it'll always be a little bit different than what it was last time, because there's randomness in it. Yeah, one thing I noticed is on Chrome, it lags a bit, but I think it's because my computer is not very good. I've had this computer for like 7 years. But for example, on Firefox, you see it's way smoother. Maybe it's because Firefox doesn't support the scroll bar, but I don't think the scroll bar really lags that much. Scroll bar is pretty efficient. But anyway, this head change animation, man, that was a lot of work. I usually don't put 4,400 lines in one file, but basically there's the main in animation, then there's turning around, so if it's coming in and that turns around, and then there's the settle animation where it's like done coming in, it has to go back to like the end position, and then there's the out animation, which is where it's leaving, and then there's the out turn where it's leaving and that changes mind and comes back in. And then there's all kinds of like edge cases and stuff that I have to handle. So you might think like, oh, this is just CSS. I just threw some CSS on there. This is like really a lot of JavaScript actually that I had to write to make this work like this. And also the shadow is like changing size, and there's things that you wouldn't think about, but like when it rotates, there's huge implications with the CSS when it rotates, because the width is changing, basically. Like the amount that covers the screen changes. So if you don't do the rotation right, like the settings and stuff will move around and stuff. But anyway, yeah, the head change I'm really happy with because it's actually polished, and it goes well with the page change, which is also polished. So now you can, like, you can see the scroll bar. The scroll bar is polished, the page change is polished, and the head change is polished. So I'm starting to get some like actual polished stuff in. Yeah, I guess I don't want to ramble too long, but basically my current schedule, I think there's a few things I did that I didn't show. I'm trying to think what they would have been. Well, another thing I'll mention. For example, you remember in World's Hardest Game how the character is a red square? I mentioned in my last video I'm going to be basically taking real people and then painting them or putting like red clothing on them. So this is kind of an example where if you can imagine a woman with like red hair and like a red outfit and red lipstick, that's going to literally, like, it sounds ridiculous because no one's ever like done something like that before, but that's what the new game is going to be like. It's going to be real, not even a cartoon person. It'll be a real person. But yeah, one thing I want to mention is I understand that like the core audience from the original World's Hardest Game may or may not be interested in having real people. So what I'm doing is I'm going to get the best of both worlds. So there'll be like a mode, like simple mode or classic mode, where instead of being a real person, it'll just turn into a red square. So this new game, which I'm calling World's Hottest Game, it'll be virtually identical to World's Hardest Game if you put it in simple mode. There'll be some differences because actually I have a little bit of a, like, I sold some of the rights to the World's Hardest Game to Cool Math Games. I'll show you here. Cool Math World's Hardest. Yeah, they paid me some money because I sold them the license to the game. So, but I'm calling it World's Hottest Game, and I'm using real people now, so it's not a problem anymore. But the classic mode, actually, I'll have to have it slightly different than this for copyright reasons, because I needed money, so I sold some of the rights to my stuff a long time ago. But anyway, the key point is there's going to be the best of both worlds. There's going to be the real people, and then if you're not interested in the real people, there's going to be the classic simple graphics. And it'll be true on, there'll be like an option here on the site. Maybe instead of drunk mode, I'll add like simple mode here. And then on the normal site, there'll be like real people all over the place. But if you put it into simple mode, they'll probably, like this, instead of being a real person, it'll be like a square with a smiley face on it or something, like World's Hardest Game 4. So yeah, if you think it's weird and you're not interested in the real people, you need not worry, because you're gonna get the original style game also. So whether you like real people or not, it's gonna be both. So I don't see any problem with doing both. Yeah, so basically my schedule right now is, despite the fact that I work a lot on the fonts and the language and the vertical alignment and stuff, I finally figured out a way of doing it better. So I have to fix the fonts and the vertical alignment. Like, for example, it's hard to show, but if I put it into random font, sometimes the text is getting confused. Like this little redo button, it's too high, and this text is actually slightly too low. It's because there's little quirks into how CSS and HTML works, where I was doing it the rational way, but you realize that the way it works doesn't actually really make sense. So you have to I have to refactor this in a way which doesn't really make sense but actually works. But anyway, I'm gonna spend probably all day today fixing that, and probably tomorrow as well. So in my head right now, I'm thinking, oh, that's going to be like a day or two, but for all I know, it could be 5 days. Because I just go down the rabbit hole, and I can always justify it taking longer because I think I'm learning, and this knowledge is useful. But then I end up doing that again, doing it again, doing it again, and then it's like, well, I didn't get anything done. But anyway, I'm going to really start trying to actually get things done. I am getting things done, but I want to get more of the actual game done. But anyway, I'm gonna fix this, and then I got all these miscellaneous tasks should hopefully only take a day or two. But then while I'm doing them, I always find new stuff to do. So I'm gonna try to finish out fixing the fonts and then the miscellaneous tasks in 3 or 4 days, but it may take a week or two. But then after that, I'm dead set on I'm going to put all my effort into the game, because I've been working on the site for so damn long that I want to get back to the game. But yeah, even the game, back in the old days, I would just make a Flash file and just embed it on the site, and it would be like a standalone program. Whereas when you do a single page application like this, it's kind of all one giant program. And what I'm doing is I'm having a special system where you can navigate back and forth from the game to the site. And there's a lot of things about it where it's fairly complicated even to just initialize the Canvas application and then leave and come back and have it in the right state. I have to have an application starter kind of. That's the next task is I have to be able to start a blank application and then leave and then come back to it and not have any memory issues along the way. But yeah, anyway, I am going to the next video. Even though it's been 5 months since the first video and 3 months since the last video, I will damn sure make the next video will be the game. And right now the site has been launched, so this is important. Right now, if you go to fairmaidengames.com, you can actually go to the site. Because normally I use a local version. See, this is fairmaidengames.com. This is for fairmaidengames.local. Normally, I just do everything local and the site is just a 404. Whereas now, from this point forward, every time I make a video, I'm going to launch the site. So whatever I'm showing in the video right now, you can go to fairmaidengames.com and see. Obviously, it's just a bunch of random text right now, so it's not that impressive. Although there is drunk mode, which is kind of fun. But anyway, I'll just leave it on drunk mode now. But what's going to happen is, as I explained earlier, and I'm going to go into more detail now, I'm having a bunch of money soon. And I was originally looking for a job, looking for a pretty good job so that I can work I can work on my job and then work on the game in my free time, and then save my money, and then that way when I'm ready to launch the game, I'll have like money for advertising and hiring models and stuff. But I got like a very very good like development where it turns out that take a sip here. Because I was working full time in Germany for 5 years in Berlin, there's a thing called the German pension plan. Maybe pension redemption. I hope there's nothing weird in my search, but whatever. I don't care anyway. Something like this. Yeah, this is it. I'm basically gonna get basically the full amount from my pension redemption, because I lived in Germany, paid a shitload of taxes to the German government, and then left Germany. And of those taxes I paid, a large percentage of them goes to the pension plan, which is for if you're an old person in Germany. So apparently, and it's been confirmed, I'm not just hoping, I know I'm gonna get it for sure now. I'm gonna get like a large refund. So I'm gonna have enough money to pretty soon to definitely I'm not looking for a job anymore. I actually deleted my LinkedIn, and I'm fully committed, full steam ahead just on this. So what I'm gonna do is every few weeks or every month or so I'm gonna show a video, and then I'm gonna launch the site. So the next video is gonna be a little video of the basic game, and then you can go to the site and play the basic game. And then I'm going to keep doing new versions of that. And then at a certain point, the game will be so big and there'll be so many characters and stuff that I'll start charging to... there'll be like a character select page. And you'll pay to unlock certain characters. And then you can go to the game and play the game with the characters. But the game will always be free by default. You only... And you just pay to unlock new characters. Although I may have it where like the first 3 levels are free, and then you need to buy at least one character, and then the rest becomes all free or all unlocked. But anyway, I'll get to more of that later. But basically, the good news is, before I was basically in a crappy situation because I moved back from Germany without any savings, and then I was looking for a job, and the job market crashed badly. So I could only get like a real crap job, which I guess some people would like. It's not. I shouldn't really complain about it, but like, you know, it's not really that great. Like working your ass off for like $20 an hour or Canadian dollars, because in Toronto, the cost of living is so high. If you make $20 an hour, you're basically poor. Like you're like in poverty. But anyway, the good news is I have a place to stay. I'm staying, even though I'm a grown man, I'm staying in my parents' spare bedroom right now, unfortunately. But I have a bunch of money coming soon, which is real nice. So I'm going to be moving to the Greater Toronto area, probably Wasaga Beach, and I've got a little place. I know someone who lives there who can help me get a place. So what I'm doing is I'm setting up a budget, setting up a schedule, and before my money runs out, I'll have already launched the game, and I'll be making money off the game, and then hopefully I'll just never, I'll just be a full-time game developer for the rest of my life. Like, I hope, if everything goes according to plan, I'll never work another job in my life. Because I have enough money right now to get to where the game is launching. And then I should be able to live off of that. And yeah, I have a backup plan. If it doesn't work, I have a thing to pivot to. But for all intents and purposes, right now, the good news is I'm going to be working full-time on this. Up until now, it hasn't really truly been full-time because I've been looking for jobs and stuff. But yeah, right now I'm full steam ahead, full-time. And I have funding, my own money too. It's not like, you know, my parent died and I got an inheritance, or my rich uncle gave me money. I don't get anything for free. All I get is because I have no money, I have a place to stay right now. But you know, I have to find, if I want to like start a game studio, I have to actually pay for it myself and do everything myself. I don't get anyone like helping me really. But anyway, so yeah, I'm really happy about that. I'm like, if it doesn't go well, I can always pivot to something else, because I have other entrepreneurship like options available to me related to the single page application. I can basically sell my code, but or I can get a web developer job. I could just get a normal job. If the game doesn't work out, I could just get a normal job, but I think the job market will be better by then. But yeah, anyway, so right now, even though I was way overly optimistic for quite a while, I think for sure, I don't know when the next video will be, but I'm going to have a basic game in the next video, and you can go to the site and actually play it. And what's going to happen is I'll put out a thing, get feedback, put out another thing, get feedback, put out another thing, get feedback, and eventually it'll get out of beta, out of alpha, and it'll be a real game. But yeah, what I'm not doing is I'm not going to finish the entire thing and then launch it. I'm launching it as I go. So the first version of the game will just be real basic, and then it'll just get better and better and better, and then the site will also get better and better and better. But yeah, up until this point, it's been pretty rough, because it's damn hard to if you go into making a single page application with all these features, you go into it naively, not realizing what you're getting yourself into. It's like you're just like, it's just really difficult. But anyway, I'm through a lot of the difficult stuff, and I'm getting back to game development. Game development, now I realize, is actually not that bad compared to web development. Web development is like really not, you know, I like it, but it's not that easy. But yeah, I'm really excited to get back to working on the game, and I'm really, really happy that I have money coming soon, and that I'm gonna have a place in Wasaga Beach to live at, like my own place, not the fucking spare bedroom. Yeah, it's gonna be nice. I'm gonna be really doing fine. I'm already doing fine. So yeah, everything's going real well, actually. It's just that my progress, it's just like the toughest part is when you're expecting to make progress and then you don't, and like all you can do is kind of explain why. But anyway, so next video, I don't know when it'll be. Oh, see, look at that. There's a fucking, why is the font size is wrong? Was it wrong? See, it looked like there was a bug there where the font size was wrong for a second. Times New Roman's supposed to be that. See, look, it's too small. What is that? Why is the font so small? Anyway, so now, whatever, I'll fix that later. But anyway, yeah, like the font stuff's probably gonna all be fixed today anyway, because I'm refactoring how it works. I think this is actually a bug I just created earlier today, but it's not that big of a deal. But anyway, so yeah, from now on, next video, the video after that, it's gonna be game development, and I'm gonna get through this. I spent all this time on web. I'm gonna go fully on game, and then eventually I'll go back and forth with both. But I'm getting real close to being out of the web spot, I hope, and into the game stuff. And I don't know if my old site is still up, but let me just see something here. It still works, yeah. This is the first time so I'm not completely starting from scratch with the game. This is something I made, this is hit detection, camera work, various stuff, but yeah, so when I get to the game, it's gonna start out looking something like this, basically. But eventually, it's gonna be kind of like World's Hardest Game 4, and then eventually, it's gonna be World's Hardest Game 4 plus all kinds of new features. So it'll get better and better and better, and then eventually, it'll be like a real game. So anyway, yeah, wish me luck. I'm feeling pretty good. It's been tough up to this point, but I think I'm in a really good spot now. I'm going to power through the rest of this web development stuff, get to the game, get cracking on the game, and I'm releasing a video every few weeks or a month or whatever, and getting feedback, and I'm going to read every single comment and so forth, especially since there's not really that many subscribers anyway. So you'll get any feedback you give me on YouTube or whatever, I'll see and I'll take into consideration. And yeah, it's going to be a bunch of releases and then feedback and then yeah, but ultimately it's basically just World's Hardest Game renamed to World's Hottest Game and with real people, but optionally you can go back to the original graphics. But yeah, so anyway, it's a pretty rambly video. I don't even know how long I talked for. It's probably a long time. Let me see here. How long did I talk for? Oh my god, it's 45 minutes. Okay, so anyway, I don't think anyone's actually gonna watch the whole thing, but yeah. So I am gonna be working hard. I'm not even looking for a job anymore. I'm only doing this. So anyway, yeah. See you in the next video. Next video is gonna be game for sure.